We have 3 days to look and move like a team of men. The best thing we have going for us is being who we are.
Why?
Because no one thinks we have the balls to pull this off.
Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez and Elizabeth Debicki play the widows. When their husband's heist goes horribly wrong, the clue is in the title, the widows decide to pull it off themselves.
The challenge of playing this woman who's vulnerable yet strong, just a real woman.
I had never picked up a script where 4 women were... Well, I don't know if I'd ever picked up a script about 4 women.
I mean, you'd never think, you know, in a logical sense or in a linear sense to put such different individuals together in one room.
Widows is British director Steve McQueen's 4th film. His last, 12 Years a Slave, won him the Best Picture Oscar.
Congratulations on the film. It's been incredibly well received.
Thank you.
But you've talked about how lots of male critics have missed the point of the film. What's the point that they're missing? What is it about?
It's about these 4 women. I think it's about them taking control of themselves, their environment. Well, I think the point that they're missing, in a way, is that these women are actually women.
Is this your Me Too Time's Up film?
No. Well, the strange thing is when we're making the picture, the Me Too sort of scandal sort of occurred. So what was great for us, what was happening in front of the camera was happening behind the camera. We're having a conversation, but look, this film is a thriller. It's a drama. It's political. It's engaging, and that's the main thing of the film. The fact that it's a byproduct of, in some ways, of a discussion which is happening now. Well, great, so be it.
So over here we have $2 million. 20 Tupperware boxes, each box has $100,000 in $100 bills. It weighs 44 pounds. Now over here we have $2 million. 40 Tupperware boxes, each box has $50,000 in $50 bills. It weighs 88 pounds.
I feel like I'm in school.
Tell me about it.
We gotta start thinking like professionals. We're in business together. There's not gonna be some cozy reunion. After this job, we're done.
These aren't your usual Hollywood stereotypical actresses, and we would never normally see them in a film together. Why did you pick them?
Because they're the women that I know. They're the women that I see every day. You know, they're real women. They're the women that are usually in the audience to watch the movie. They're not the archetypal Hollywood stereotype of a woman. And it's just great to see them come together and do this heist.
And you actually said to the actresses that for their roles you were giving them a vagina. I read that. What did you mean?
Well, I think certain actresses, I mean, like Viola Davis, for example, is seen as holier than thou. And she's a real woman, you know, with emotions. She's shy, she's bashful, she's vulnerable.
She's sexual, we see in the film.
Precisely. And I think often it's the case that she's seen as some kind of messiah, in a way, or some sort of person that you sort of look up to. But really, she's a human being. And yes, I wanted to give her a life. I wanted to make her a person.
And apparently Michelle Rodriguez didn't want to do the film in the beginning, and some people told you not to work with her because she was difficult.
Yeah, Michelle, I think, you know, sometimes you are called difficult and sometimes you're a perfectionist. Look, but with Michelle, she just asks questions, that's all. And I love the fact that someone asks questions, because then it makes me have to think. So if it's a case of I have to think, bring it on.
This for the guns.
Guns?
3 Glocks, ammo 2.
Me? From where?
It's America. Figure it out.
Steve McQueen walked up to me and he said, "Are you Linda LaPlante?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "My name is Steve McQueen, and I'm a fan of your show Widows since I was a teenager. And I want to make it into a movie." And it was just like, it's hard to sort of just say what it felt like, because it was like, yes, sir.
The film is based on a 1980s TV series that was set in London by Linda LaPlante. You've actually said that you identified with the women in that series when you watched it when you were a teenager. What did you mean?
Well, me being a young black child growing up in London in the 80s, seeing these women, seeing how they were being judged on their appearance, seeing how they were sort of being judged of not being capable was similar to how I was being looked at, how the gaze was being put on me. So I had an immediate connection with them.
I'm so sorry for your loss. If there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm not a hard man to find.
Underneath the heist plot, there's a political campaign going on. Colin Farrell plays Jack Mulligan, a candidate running for Chicago's 18th ward. His father, Tom Mulligan, is played by Robert Duvall.
It tackles everything, man, from racial issues to criminality in politics, criminality and street crime, the nature of friendship and what America is today, and how it arrived at that point, at this point.
The film digs into issues of money, issues of nepotism in politics. Did you base Colin Farrell's character, his politician, on anyone in particular?
Not really, but did a lot of research about, there was a mayor in Chicago called Mayor Daley, and he had a son who became the next mayor after him. So there's a certain sense of entitlement, there's a certain sense of ownership sometimes within politics, particularly in certain parts of the world, as we know.
Chicago is significant for you because it's where you had your first solo show.
Yes.
You moved the original plot, the original story, which was set in London, to Chicago. Why?
Well, like you just said, I had my first museum show, my first solo museum show in Chicago. I'm an artist as well. And my partner at the time, who now is my wife, went to the Democratic Convention. And at the time, Bill Clinton was the president. So I always say my first footprint in Chicago was art and politics. And Chicago is geographically, it's very dense. There's race, there's police, there's corruption, religion, race, etc., etc. And I wanted to sort of look at that and in Chicago as a local situation, but also turning around where it's a global view of the world.
And how did you research the city? Because it seems like it's a real character in the film.
Well, that's crazy. Myself and Gilliam Fenn, the co-writer, we spoke to politicians off record. We spoke to clergymen off record. We spoke to the police off record, private investigators. Also, we spent 3.5 hours with the FBI headquarters in Chicago. The headquarters is the third largest in America. And when we came out, myself and Gillian came out of those meetings at the FBI, it was like seeing the Matrix. We saw the city as it really was.
The film is entertaining, it's mainstream, but it's also very deep, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you can have your cake and eat it too sometimes. I really do. I think you could bring people in, put bums on seats, but at the same time engage them in, the current situation we're in, and also to ask questions about certain things. That's why I love to be. I mean, think of movies like The Godfather. Think of movies like Chinatown. They ask questions at the same time they engage, and that's the kind of movies that I'm interested in, sort of engaging with our general public with.
Steve McQueen has spent his career confronting the unspoken, to wide acclaim. Hunger striking in his debut in 2008, sex addiction in Shame, and the racism embedded in America's history in 12 Years a Slave, which won him the Best Picture Oscar in 2013.
In your last film, 12 Years a Slave, you took on a subject of mighty historical importance. Yes. You won the Best Picture Oscar. When you win the Best Picture Oscar and you make history by becoming the first black director to do so, does it change you? Does it change what you do next?
No. What it does, it makes certain things more possible, that's for sure. But does it change me? No. I think, when people see Widows, they won't be disappointed. In the way that, I'm not going to sort of all of a sudden do sort of some kind of franchise. That's not my path. And I'm an artist. I can't help do what I do. I have to do what I do. Sometimes I wish I could do something else, but that's what I do. And I want to sort of engage with the audience. I want to sort of, really engage with the audience and have a conversation with them.
Do you think 12 Years a Slave and its success changed something for the film industry, for Hollywood?
Well, it made certain films possible just because Hollywood realized that, black-led films make money abroad, and they make lots of money abroad. So therefore, it was a commodity. It was, you know, again, I don't blame Hollywood for that because that's their business. Their business is about making money. So I think it changed their perception of what a film with black protagonists can do, for sure.
And that's thanks to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very kind.
If this whole thing goes wrong, I want my kids to know that I didn't just sit there and take it. I did something.
In this city, you reap what you sow.
Let's hope so.